Today I'd like to talk about confidence and attachment. So confidence being something that starts internally, and with a lack of that we may have many other techniques to attach to feeling valuable, worthy, and connected. So that can result in attachment wounds in a relationship where the healing can't happen because people aren't being their true self. So a lot of my inspiration comes from Shon Shesh Hemesh Bator, but first Micha. Micha is a prophet in the Jewish lineage, but many know about Micha. He says in 18:4, "But they shall sit every man under his vine, under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord of hosts has spoken." So relationships are like hosts. Like I've heard people say, it's like a baby. You have to nurture it, you have to let it grow, you have to give it space and time, patience. So none shall make them afraid. And woundedness is obviously fear. We have distrust. And probably I will go into this a little more deeply, but just to talk about this, and then my other main source is from the Instagram account, The Secure Relationship. Forget the person's name who runs it, maybe more than one, but I enjoy their posts very much, and that's going to be my two main sources following that Micha quote. So, first of all, Shoan Shesh Heshmatpur talks about how do we feel confident in relationships. Number one, he says relationships are thoughts. We aren't in relationship with another person. We are in a relationship with our thoughts of that person. They make me feel good. They are a good person. They are respectable. And we grow to like them and we want to be around them, or they are fun. And our thoughts are how we experience meaningful connection. So we have to change our thoughts sometimes. The second one he says is let go of the manuals. Don't oblige people to follow your rules for what you think is good behavior, because for someone else it's okay to be without, it's okay to ask someone, but it's also okay for them to say no. So we have to let go of this rule book and kind of learn to do the rules for ourselves. What makes us feel good, what makes us feel connected. And number three is boundaries versus threats. This is a big misconception where we think boundaries are about what other people do. Boundaries are what I do, and threats are about what you do. If I say, if you do this, I'm going to do this, then it's a threat. But if I say, I will not be able to tolerate this, or I will be able to tolerate this, that's a boundary. It's my edge. So making a threat is I want you to have an edge so I can have an edge. So this comes in, we can't control anyone ever. And this is really spiritual healing, because we let go of everyone else's sovereignty and we say either God is taking care of them or their higher self is taking care of them, whatever the language is. Number four is we set healthy boundaries. This means a boundary, as just explained, is an appropriate thing I do if someone violates me. If you yell or curse, I'm going to leave. So that would mean I say, I have to go because you're screaming. It's not a threat that you do this, then I do this, or if you don't do this, then I'll do this. It's saying, I have to go when there's yelling or cursing. It's a switch. Or you say, if you hit me, I'll call the police. Versus, it's kind of like, I call the police when I get hurt. I call the police when I feel like someone is violating me. So when there's a violation, I say it and I take action, appropriate action if necessary. Number five, choose unconditional love. This is our hardest one for most of us. It means without attaching conditions. So love hurts is a misconception. He feels that what hurts is forming meaning to people's actions that creates feelings of betrayal. So I would say they're not there for me when I need them, because of the day where I kind of was calling them and they were not available. That's forming meaning and saying they don't care about me. Versus I just love them even when they don't need to be there for me, even when they don't need to sacrifice their needs in order to be there for my needs. Unconditional love means I'm only going to love you when I can, not because you're feeling my needs so that I could be able to love you. In other words, love is more of a choice. So number six, attraction is a choice by our thoughts. So what are we attracted to is what we think is great. So I don't need to, explain this too much, but practice intentional attraction. I want to be around patient people, and then you become attracted to people who are patient. It feels good. I want to be around successful people. Then you're around people who actually are paying attention to their goals and taking actions toward their goals. That makes them successful. 7, lovability comes from within. We don't need to do anything because it's a choice to love. So again, it's not taking it personal. Even if someone says that they don't find me lovable with their actions, their words, I don't have to form meaning to it because I am lovable. I'm just lovable. It's a choice for someone to love me. For example, they say, I love how creative she is, how passionate she is, how devoted she is, how loyal. I match their check marks, right? Number 8, allow adults to be and do. Adults are allowed to do what they want. Adults are allowed to do whatever they want. So trying to control comes from insecurities. Because an adult can, because I'm an adult, I can do what I want. Right? So I don't have to I don't have to let others make me do things, but I also can't make others do things. That's where this comes from. And it's the same as with the boundaries. The boundaries for me, not for them. I'm not making boundaries so other people feel safe and follow the rules and do a good job. We make boundaries for ourselves. Like, this is who I am and this is my edge. And finally, number 9, the relationship with myself is first. So I can practice thinking nice things about myself. And then how I treat myself is a reflection of my thoughts about myself. So as the practice is right now I'm thinking how I am very good at researching. I have high standards that I myself try to keep. And when I say high standards, I mean I'm always going beyond my nature. In other words, I'm giving myself credit. So I would say this is kind of like the idea of being proud of myself. So being a researcher, going beyond my nature, having integrity, like keeping my word and following my standards. And I'm proud of myself, and I get credit for me showing up for this every single day, doing these videos. I'm proud of myself, and I get credit for speaking up about 2 jobs where it feels like it may not be for me if I don't address the issues. So it's worth it if I want to start a job to start from the right place. And I'm proud of myself that I was able to receive love from somebody who often I feel has an agenda, but instead I just let it go and I felt loved. I felt really loved, and I thought, I'm just lovable. They're just loving me because I'm lovable, and that was a big step for me. I'm proud of myself that I had to readjust my schedule a bunch of times today, and it's been working out well, and I'm taking the right care of myself. I'm proud of myself, and I get credit for being amazing because I'm willing to show up real, even with my recovery partners. And there's a good balance in recovery between kind of having grace and letting people be on the way, but also not necessarily like catering to false personalities, which a lot of us in recovery have had to develop. And I'm proud of myself for yesterday doing a lot of projects that I've been pushing off, and it went very smooth, and it just, I'm proud of myself that I push forward even when things are invisible or I'm not seeing results, and I keep doing it, and then when it actually happens, it's amazing and smooth, and I'm really a good, devoted, passionate, for sure, loyal to the work. And I'm proud of myself for letting things go, certain things, just letting the trees be my witness, letting the walls be my witness. I don't have to carry it. And finally, I'm proud of myself when I'm not taking personally people who use my time, use my energy, and, they don't even listen sometimes to what they're asking for and take me for granted. And I'm proud of myself that I don't take it personally because it could confuse me, get with my self-esteem. And now I'm going to go into attachment wounds. So that was a practice. And an attachment wound is defined as an event or a series of events that seriously compromise relationship trust to the degree that one or both partners cannot feel safe and close until there's healing. What's a wound for one pair may not be the same for another pair. Meaning made and the impact of the event is what creates the wound. What this meaning and this impact varies, but what matters is that trust is profoundly affected. So some ideas, I'd say, for example, this is romantic, but it could also be like in other relationships. So affairs, that could be in business or romance, right? You sneak behind others' back and get your needs met somewhere else. But then in all relationships, really, family, friendship, romance, acquaintance, and so on. in recovery and healing, anything, even with a doctor. Untreated substance abuse and addiction, failure to show up in key moments, chronic experience of attachment needs going unmet, a serious lie, chronic lying, abusive behavior, anything really that affects safety and trust. The degree to which trust is impacted determines whether it is a wound. So in other words, some pairs, so whether it's a couple or two people having a relationship, some pairs are able to repair, repair, right? The pair is able to repair before it becomes an ongoing wound. So, while others, have different reasons for this. So in other words, some pairs are able to repair, but others, they have different reasons for the wounds around the event, and so it takes a different approach to be able to meet, and it may turn into ongoing wounds because they're not even able to repair the meaning and the impact. They're not able to come together for that. And in the worst cases, it's the highly escalated fights where both become abusive that can leave either person, both basically, in a profound state of mistrust. So what is healing here? Each makes the decision to be open to healing. And then there's repeated experiences of something new. This starts to open up the trust and the safety. Communication around the event, which creates the right conditions for healing. So openness, not over-talking, not invalidating, allowing, really. Then stabilizing the relationship negative cycle. So then the nervous system, and then finally the nervous system naturally shifts into a state of safety when all these kinds of conditions are met. Mistrust is actually a survival strategy. It's a primal response. It stems from either real relationship events or personal blocks to trust, which existed before the relationship came to be. So that's why I started with confidence starts from within, because often we don't have that safety and trust inside of ourselves yet, even with ourselves, and we bring it into the relationship, and so does the other. And so each of us are forming our own meaning and getting impacted in different ways. So how can we repair? We don't even have that inner attachment. There's a threat, right? Experiences I'm not safe, I have to be careful, I have to find safety, and this is what actually can keep us alive. But the nervous system has to decide when it's ready to trust again. It's going to be a felt sense of safety. It's going to be able to relax, and there's been an attachment wound that can, and it's like we could work towards the nervous system, feeling safe and trusting again, but we can't force it. On the one hand, we have to be open to it, but on the other hand, the right conditions have to be created for growth. So that means that while this attachment wounds can happen in any relationship or even a healthy relationship, people can be coming in with some stuff. It's more likely in relationships with a context of poor communication mutually from both sides. So on the one hand, behaving badly is a choice. All adults have a choice and are responsible for our own actions and the way that we manage our feelings. On the other hand, clearing up relationship communication strengthens the relationship. So by coming together and communing, we can undo what this poor communication leaves us feeling invalidated, unheard, frustrated, attacked, unappreciated, not appreciating, alone, sad, angry, helpless, the worst, right? Demoralized. And a relationship struggling with these issues is more vulnerable to wounds, right? So the solution is to work to unstick from the negative cycle, so not to attach to the ways of separating. So in other words, clearing the relationship communication, learning how to speak the truth and not speaking what's not in our heart, basically attaching to the self and saying, like Micha said, they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord of hosts has spoken. So when we can speak our truth and let God live in us, the oneness, the creator who is allowing new things to happen, we commune with, right? Communion. So if we can turn this into a spiritual practice of attaching to our soul or our self, then we can repair all the wounds of the pairs, our first pairing is with the Creator, right? We were created as other so that we could have free choice. We're responsible for ourselves and how we handle our bad behavior, how we handle life, or if we choose bad behavior. So confidence starts from within, and I wish you well. I hope that this was meaningful for you. Thank you for spending this time with me.